Yeah, man. So you mentioned that you went. So when you went over to Finland, that's the first time that you really had, you said you learned the game, or you learned how to play the game at a different way. What are some of the things that you learned there that, I think you see now a lot, like goalies and every player coming up now has personal coach, and the game has become so, I guess like hacked almost, like, guys are, watching video, and kids are learning all these like, unique skills at an early age. But like, what are some of the things that you learned over in Finland that, that changed your life and changed your game as a goalie?
Well, yeah. So I'll touch on the one thing. It seems like, opposed to when I was coming up, like there's a lot more goalie coaches now, and some of the clinics you don't get the time. You don't have the time to really explain everything. So I feel like a lot more goalies can do the dance steps. They can look like goalies,
Yeah.
but it's the reading of the play, the understanding of the game, understanding threats and stuff like that you really have to learn. Because some of the best goalies in the NHL are just NHL goalies. They don't look as smooth as you would think, but it's between the ears where they can understand what the intention of a puck carrier is, or where guys on the ice, stuff like that. So I think one of the things I really learned in Finland that was super helpful was like the box control. So basically, you can call it a number of different things. It's the view from the puck to the net. So from behind the puck, it's that view, and then if you're standing in the net, basically where can the puck go to get in the net? Because the net's not four by six everywhere. If the puck is coming from the hash marks and you're standing in the middle, it's middle of the ice shot. You're standing on the goal line. Now it's 4 by 6 basically. But if you're on top of your crease and it's a dot angle, your net that's like right in front of you is much smaller than that behind you. So it's more of a visual thing, but just understanding like what you're covering, like how much net you're actually covering, it was huge to me because it made me calm down and made me really get my spots to the point where we would use ropes. So we would tie 2 ropes to a puck and attach them to the top corners. So
Yes.
now you can see the lane from low to high to the top corners, and now you can find optimal positioning so you're in good shape, and then you can adjust that positioning based on if someone's back door, if there's other threats. If there is no threat, you can take a step out and take it all away. So that was one thing, and then also just little things like coming out and back, like how, like understanding when to be square, where to move, how to use the crease in a way that you're traveling less distance, so you're more efficient. Understanding the shooters and where's in a one-on-0 situation, where's the blade facing? So if the blade is facing towards the net, obviously at that exact moment, he can shoot. If he has the puck in front of him down the center of his body, he has to pull it one way or the other to shoot it. Understanding where the puck is. Like, is the puck in front of him? Is the puck behind him? If the puck is behind him, then he can't shoot high yet. If he pulls it forward, then he can elevate the puck. So a lot of these little things that we just talked about, and it was funny because he was Finnish. Like he was older and he's Finnish. He didn't speak English, so we'd have these meetings, and my assistant coach would translate. And also with my hands, like hands coming forward, moving things forward, and they were all things that I was able to bring back like to my goalies here. That was super cool, and I've always been able to do that. So I've been able to work with some of the best goalie coaches in the world, and I've been super lucky in that regard. So I digest it. I try to figure everything out so I understand it. So I'm not just like regurgitating what they're telling me. So when I do my teaching here, I typically do small group stuff or just private stuff so I can take the time and explain these things. Because when I get a new goalie, I'm just getting like 2 or 3 key principles down first, and then you build off that. And once you
Yeah.
can understand that, then you can think for yourself, and you don't need a coach around you all the time. Coaches are great, super important. Another thing, like I just saw In Goal Magazine. You talk about watching videos. I think it's In Goal Magazine. They have a thing where like Carey Price and Freddie Anderson are watching their video,
Yeah.
and you seen that?
Yeah,
And
I've seen
like
that.
that
Cool.
that stuff I would do with Scotty Murray or Bob Janos or whoever, Pat Delaire and Red Bull. Like we did that every single game. We even did it with practices sometimes, and that's how I kind of developed my game. Was we had Ryan Vince. If you remember Ryan Vince, he backed up when Ryan Miller got traded. So he's kind of like a phenomenon in town. He's a video guy, and he got to sit on the bench, in 35 Vince, and Vinzi would. This was kind of before our time. We had sports code. He would cut every single clip for me, even pucks that didn't get to the net. So that was how I could learn, and I'll just watch all these clips and over time, that repetition of seeing the plays, it's like even while I was playing, like I would watch all the hockey highlights for 10-minute long ones just to see how guys are playing situations differently, because it can be a 6-inch difference in positioning, but as you get to the higher levels, it's that type of consistency and that type of blueprint that will make you consistent.
Yeah. You think watching video? You're talking about watching videos of yourself too, right? Like, is that what you mean?
Both, yeah, absolutely. Myself and other goalies, and even as a goalie, I think people have their own. They like this guy because of the way he plays. They don't like this guy because of the way he played. But I feel it's super important to watch both. Like NHL goalies, like they're the best goalies in the world, or some of the best goalies in the world. Are you a Carey Price fan? Well, watch Carey Price. Are you not a fan of this guy? Still watch him because he's there for a reason. So what is he doing that's differently? Maybe you could steal some from his game. Do the same thing with my goalie partners. I learned a ton from my goalie partners, and I've had some great ones. Phil Grubauer, Khudobin, Jonas Enroth. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to forget somebody. I had tons of great goalie partners, and I learned something from every single one of them. And whether it was good or bad. So for the most part, really good goalie. Danny Ostenberg in Munich, Kevin Poulin, Louis Domingue, Mike McKenna. I mean, I can go on all day. Like I learned from these guys, good or bad, because there was things I could probably say, well, I bet if you didn't do this, like you'd be more successsful. But then I'd be like, oh, like look how he handles the puck. Like that's pretty good, So that's another thing you can do as a goalie. You want to be competitive with your partner. You want to be a good teammate, but you can learn from everybody, whether it's good or bad.
What's like? I mean, from my point of view, I never really had that. I never asked a goalie that question. Obviously, I know there's a lot of competition. Like I remember, like at the pro level as a defenseman, like you're pulling for your teammates, but you're also competing for ice time with these guys. So there's that weird level of like where you want them to be successful, but if they're too successful, then all of a sudden you're on the outs. But like for a goalie, it's got to be the competition's got to be even more